Hey, it's Steve again. It's June 16th, 2020. It's early in the morning here in wonderful Casper, Wyoming, United States. Today, I want to talk to you about thinking again. I was reading this morning in Think and Grow Rich. Here's the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He wrote this book back in the 1930s, somewhere around the Great Depression. And, he had taken 20 years of research and study to write this, and he came across some pretty interesting things and came to some conclusions that the way we think really dictates where our life ends up going and the quality of our life and the things we get and uh, basically everything that happens to us is a result of ours or someone else's thinking. So, anyways, I'm going to read this. This is in the chapter on the subconscious mind. It says, everything which man creates begins in the form of thought impulse. Man can create nothing which he does not first conceive in thought. Through the aid of the imagination, thought impulses may be assembled into plans. The imagination, when under control, may be used for the creation of plans or purposes that lead to success in one's chosen occupation. So, the thing is that our everything that happens to us, or it begins, anything that we go out to create begins first in our own thinking. So our thoughts will it's hard. A lot of people say, "Oh, I just I can't control my thoughts. I can't give I can't make myself think that way." And it in this chapter in Think and Grow Rich on the subconscious mind, it's talking about there's the mind which we think, and then there's this other mind where it's a kind of like an automatic. It's the subconscious mind is kind of like, you can kind of look at it like this: like, we don't have to think about our heart beating or our lungs are breathing. It's kind of automatic. And the mind the mind sort of, or this, what we're talking about, is a power that automatically takes care of that. Now, our thinking, we can lift our arms, we can wave our finger, we can move our head, we can blink our eyes, and that can be conscious. Although sometimes even that stuff may be from the subconscious mind, blinking our eyes, for example. But me speaking with you today is something that I'm voluntarily doing. But the subconscious mind could be likened to something that's done involuntary, but it's kind of an automatic deal. Now, we can't completely control that, but we can influence it. And so, strong desire. So if you have a desire for something, you want something very badly, let's say it's a job or a house or something like that, you can place those plans down into your subconscious, and through a force that there's really very little understanding of it, things will happen, and it seems like coincidence or something that'll just make those stuff will start going that direction. Things will just appear that'll make that happen. But it like I said, it cannot be completely controlled. But it really is an interesting, our thinking thoughts, the ones that we voluntarily do. For example, we get up in the morning and we eat, and those things, we think about what we're going to eat and things like that. Those are those are things that we can do. We can do them automatically, and we have control over that. I was talking about controlled imagination yesterday, and we can control that imagination, but the subconscious, we can't totally control that. because it's kind of it's a little hard to explain. But in our first of all in our conscious thinking, I think Bob Proctor gives a description, and he shows it looks like kind of like a snowman, and yet the body of the snowman is like 10 times bigger than the head. The head represents our actual thoughts and thinking, and the body of the snowman represents the subconscious mind. Or it might be another description might be kind of like a iceberg. And when you see an iceberg out on the ocean, you'll see just the top part of the iceberg. But what's interesting is that the below the iceberg, it might be 10 or maybe 100 times bigger than what you see coming out of the water. And in old time days, it used to, people that didn't understand ocean currents, the wind would be blowing one direction, pushing their ship one way, while the iceberg is going against the wind. And a lot of the sailors back then thought they were really freaked out by that. They had no understanding of why that would happen, because they didn't understand that there was a current underneath the ocean that was actually moving against the direction of the wind. And it didn't make sense to them. They thought that if the wind was blowing against their ship going east, and yet the iceberg was going west, they didn't have any concept of understanding. And I guess in the same way, the subconscious mind is sort of works like that too. It can actually go against our conventional thinking, and it's a very powerful thing when you start to begin to understand it. Which I don't believe there's a lot of understanding on this. I don't have a full understanding of what the subconscious mind is capable of, and I don't know that anyone does today. But it is a fact that when you place plans into it, and that can be done by a good way is to write it down. One of the things I've been doing is I declare. I've been every day for the past about 2 weeks. I've been doing a declaration, or I've been doing affirmations, and I call them I am affirmations. So the word I am, following I am, is what we do. And a lot of times, we don't like direct our I ams. We just kind of that those I ams can come from the subconscious by thoughts that were planted in us when we were younger. So if you had a parent that was constantly saying you are a loser, you are weak, you are, it was all these negative things. You are not a good person. And so the subconscious mind comes up, and it'll bring up thoughts that I am weak, I am dumb, I am a bad person, I am shameful. And so in order to change that, you can actually change that by using affirmations. And so I think the thing is that I've been experimenting with consistently. I don't know that you can just do it one time and say I am strong, I am healthy, I am wise, and use some of those and only say that one time. And I don't think it would do anything. It needs to be consistently done every single day. So what I've been doing is I've been saying that my I ams on a daily every day, and I believe I'm sinking that down into the subconscious mind, which then it'll come up. So I'll give you just an example of a few of them that I've been saying every day. I am wealthy. I am enough. I am valuable. I am chosen. I'm accepted. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am forgiven. I am unique. I am confident. I am bold. I am fearless. I am courageous. I am healthy. I am strong. I am creative. I am loving. I am humble. I am grateful. So these are just a few of the examples. There's a few more, but I'm saying those every single day, doing an experiment. And actually I say them out loud. I read them out loud. So it's it's one thing to just read silently to yourself, but when you say it out loud in your own voice, it does have a more of an effect. And if I can, and a lot of times I'll stand up and say them, and I'll say it forcefully or with some emotion, and that has an even greater effect. But we're talking about influencing the subconscious mind, and like I said, it cannot be completely controlled, but it can be influenced, and you can it's something that you can use to help you, and it'll bless you, but it also can be a curse too, and again, something repeated over and over and over again, whether it's true or not, can become a reality because of the repetition of it. And it's kind of like I do 1,000 push-ups a day, and here I'm in my 50s, and when I was in my 20s, I wasn't doing 1,000 push-ups a day. I was lucky if I did 10, and but it's the consistency of doing it every day that I've been able to do this. Now I don't just get on the ground and do 1,000. I don't just pump out 1,000 push-ups in one setting. I do them in sets, but I've conditioned my body so that I can do sets of 150. So I do like 7 sets of 150 push-ups, which is also and then I'll rest between well, I don't actually rest. I do crunches, but to me that's resting. Your core body can handle that. It's kind of like walking. You can walk a really long ways, whereas if you tried to run, you could probably only run so far. You could walk a lot further because you're not stressing yourself. But anyway, this idea of the subconscious mind is in similar ways that that you can place thoughts down in there by using affirmations. You can write out plans, and reading things out loud has more of an effect than just writing them. Although just writing them is very important too. Knowing, figuring out what it is that you want to do and what you want, and the more specific you are, the better chance you have of getting that. So you don't just say I want a car. You say I want a Mercedes Benz. Maybe say the year, whatever it is. I want an SUV. Exactly what brand it is. I want for me it was like a Ford Excursion. Diesel. I mean, I was very specific on what I wanted. 4-wheel drive. I didn't say I just want an SUV. So I would and then write that down. Just don't write down, I want to have an SUV, and then give yourself maybe a time limit, and make it reasonable, but a little bit challenging. If you don't think you could have something like that for a year, then make it for 3 months. Make that a goal for 3 months. So you push a little bit. And that's kind of what I do in my push-ups. I push just a little bit more. I try to do a few more. And even today, I did my 150, and then I'll say, all right, I'm going to do 10 more. And I just push out 10 more push-ups. And I always say, you can't pay somebody to do your push-ups for you. You can, you can pay people to do a lot of things, but some things you just have to do on your own to get any kind of benefit from it. And you might say, well, where am I going to get time to do something like that? And it's interesting that for me, just getting up earlier this morning, I woke up at 4:30 and got started. But most mornings I'll get up at 5 to 5:30, somewhere in there. But I try not to use excuses, because excuses will end up ultimately just it's just what it is. It's an excuse, and I can come up with 1,000 different reasons not to do it, and but I look at it like, all right, if you do it every day, it can become a habit. So for me, I don't ever take a day off from my exercising. I kind of look at it like, I brush my teeth and take a shower every day. And so I feel like it's that my exercising is the same as importance. So and my and affirmations. And I think anything, when you set your goals and you figure out what you want, then go ahead and read, write, get it on paper, write it down in your own handwriting or type it, but then keep it with you and read it every day. I heard a story about there was a room full of Olympians, and there was a gold medal Olympian giving a talk, and he asked, how many of you, and these are world-class Olympians, these are the best of the best. There's 50 of them in this room, and the Olympics are coming up, and they're all wanting a gold medal. Of course, that's the goal. And he said, the speaker said, how many of you have written your goals? And all of them raised their hands. They all had written out goals, and that's a clue of why they were up there. And then he asked another question, which is very interesting. He said, how many of you have that with you right now? And only one guy stood up, and it's interesting that then the Olympics came, and he is the one that got the gold medal. So, when that desire is so strong that it stays with you no matter where you go, then you will succeed. So I want to tell a quick story real quick, and then I'll end this. So there was a man that heard about this wise man that had the answers to success, and he desperately desired to have success in his life, and he was constantly a failure, and he made a decision, and this is back in the 1800s, before there were modern transportation, and he lived on the East Coast, and he heard about this wise man that lived on the West Coast. So he made a decision that he was going to go find this wise man and do whatever it took to get him to tell him what the secret to success was. So he started on his journey from the East Coast to the West Coast. Back then it was horses, and he was on foot, and it took him, he went through snowstorms and raging rivers, and there wasn't roads back then and bridges and stuff. So it was quite a task. It took about 4 months, but he stuck to his plan, and he made it to the West Coast, and he searched and searched, and he finally, he asked, around, he knew the town that the wise man lived in. He said, where is the wise man? He says, well, the wise man is down there by his house at the ocean. So, he sees this guy, and he says, are you the wise man? And he says, yes, I am the wise man. And the wise man said, why do you seek me? And he said, I seek that I want to know the secret to success, and I will do anything. And I've traveled for, all the way across the country. It took me 4 months. I've gone through all kinds of stuff. And he said, you really want to know the secret of success? And he says, oh, I want to know really badly. He says, okay, I'll tell you. So he says, come on with me. And he started to walk out into the ocean. So he said, okay, I'll go with him. I want to learn really bad. So he goes out into the ocean, and they get up at about their waist, and the water's up maybe about to their chest. And the wise man looked, and he said, okay, you really want to know the secret to success? He said, yep. So he grabs him, and he pushes him down into the water and holds him down. And this guy's struggling, and he gets up, and he comes up, and he says, what are you doing, old man? I'm trying to, what are you? And then about then he pushes him back down into the water and holds him down. And he's down there a while, and he's like, wow, what is going on? Why is this man doing? He's like panicking a little bit, and he comes back for air, and he breathes, and he says, what are you doing, old man? And this time he holds him down. He puts him down under the water again and holds him there. And he is just, this wise man is a strong guy. He's doing 1,000 push-ups a day. So he's got him hold down, and he's holding him down and holding him down and holding him down. And he's really struggling. And man, he's given everything he has to get up. And the wise man's holding him down. And he's like he can't breathe, He's like, oh, and he finally lets him up, and he's like, man, what are you doing, old man? I'm gonna drown you. And he said, I thought you wanted to know. He said, I thought you wanted to know the secret to success. He said, yeah, but you're drowning me. He says, okay, well, do you really want to know the secret to success? He said, of course I do. He said this. He said, when you want to succeed. He said, how bad what did you want to do the third time you were under the water? And he said, you fool, I wanted to breathe. He said, when you want to breathe, or you want to succeed much as you want to breathe that third time under the water, you will succeed. Sorry, I kind of messed it up a little bit, but you get the gist of it. And that's the end of today's talk. And I'll see you again soon. Thanks.